Thank you for being a part of our network. I'm Stefina Zwane, standing in for Siphumelele Zondi, who's been out of the country. This week has been very busy. We caught up with the first African-American female astronaut as she visited the country. And since it's World AIDS Day, we will take a look at some of the technologies helping us to fight the disease. We are on Twitter and Facebook under SABC Network. You can also email us at newsnetwork@sabc.co.za. You can also view our videos on the network YouTube page on YouTube/SABC News. Let's start with your social media and technology news. 3 hours ago, the Johannesburg leg of Random Hacks of Kindness ended. Throughout the weekend, innovative software developers had been meeting in the city's student area of Braamfontein. The aim is to help address real-world social problems. Here is Network's Tsele Khaswane with the full report.
Take some of the best IT minds in the world, allocate a weekend, and task them with helping solve some of the world's social problems. And you get ThoughtWorks Random Hacks of Kindness.
We find people with the right skill sets at the weekend and match them up, and we start doing rapid prototypes of the applications to solve those challenges, to attack those challenges and get feedback.
Wildlife poaching is a huge challenge in South Africa. It also has a negative impact on the national economy. The programmers meeting here have also been tasked with addressing this problem.
There's a lot of poaching happening in the jungles in South Africa run by criminal and terrorist syndicates. So what this project is about is having a low-cost flying object so that people can monitor the animals and the activity and poaching.
Helping to replace lost limbs at an affordable price was also on the agenda for this year's Random Hacks of Kindness.
In 2011, there were 67,000 amputees in South Africa. That's only in South Africa. 1 out of 1,200 kids is born with ABS, so that's about 6.5 million. There's a constant demand, and we believe this gives people independence again and gives them some of their self-image.
Random Hacks of Kindness takes place in more than 50 cities around the globe, involving over 6,000 participants. These programmers show that hacking isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Newspaper reports say South Africa's 3 main mobile phone operators are being investigated by the Hawks for allegedly leaking information. They say MTN, Cell C and Vodacom are accused of releasing cell phone records to tobacco manufacturer Canon. The company then used these records to spy on investigators from the South African Revenue Service, SARS. SARS says Canon threatened some of the investigators. They were also offered bribes. MTN, Cell C and Vodacom say they are not aware of these charges. The first African-American woman to travel in space, Dr. Mae Jemison, is in South Africa. Producer Lebu Sejake tells us more.
She may look like the average young lady. Lady is no average Sally. In 1992, Dr. Mae Carol Jemison became the first black woman to go into space.
I would have never suspected as a little girl growing up that I would be the first, not just African-American woman, but the first woman of color in the entire world to go into space, because I would have thought that we would have moved further, faster.
Fast forward to 22 years later, Dr. Jemison is a pioneer of a number of initiatives that aim at luring more young girls and women into the science and technology field.
In the U.S., we have problems and issues around, minorities, African Americans, women being involved in the sciences and the technologies. What we found, the most important thing, is getting little kids from the start to be able to use that incredible energy they have when they wonder about the world to do hands-on science.
Dr. Jemison is collaborating with South Africa's Department of Science and Technology.
I was very fortunate to be here talking with the Department of Science and Technology about STEM education, science, technology, engineering, mathematics education.
She visited a number of science and technology initiatives of the DST. She also participated in South Africa's Technology Top 100 Business Awards, which took place on Friday, November 28th.
Matric pupils in South Africa finished writing their final year high school examination in the last week. If any of you are thinking of going to study at the University of Johannesburg next year, you need to know that owning a laptop or tablet will be compulsory. The university has negotiated a deal with a service provider to sell the devices at a tagged 2,000 rand. EduLoan could arrange funding for students to buy the tablet and pay it off at 500 rand a year or a lower monthly installment. The university had been preparing for the move to digital learning by preparing the necessary infrastructure for a while now. Campus-wide Wi-Fi connectivity and charging points would be available. South Africa's biggest mobile network provider, Vodacom, is seeking to increase its stake in its unit in Tanzania. Vodacom aims to acquire an additional 17% stake and is willing to pay 2.5 billion rand in cash for it.
Vodacom is the most popular mobile operator in South Africa, but elsewhere on the continent it is not. This is because it does not have a large enough footprint in Africa. In the last week, however, the mobile network operator announced a 2.5 billion rand cash injection to up its stake in Tanzania. Vodacom says Tanzania is its most successful sub-Saharan investment with 10 million customers. The company will raise its stake in Vodacom Tanzania to 82.2% from 65%. This they will achieve by buying new shares in the company's minority shareholder. Vodacom also has a presence in Mozambique, Lesotho and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Never-ending conflict in the East African country of Somalia has left its women amongst the most disadvantaged in the world. To reclaim their power, the first all-female-run radio station has begun broadcasting in the capital, Mogadishu. But as you can imagine, the station faces many challenges.
This is Aman Radio, a radio station that is breaking social and cultural barriers in the heart of Somalia. It is the first radio station in the capital, Mogadishu, to be fully run by women. Anisa Abdullah Muhammad is a presenter at the station. She says the station has a huge gap to fill in Somali society.
I chose Aman because it's dedicated to social issues. We rarely discuss politics. We focus on the community, women, healthcare, education and the rebuilding of the country. So in some little way, I want to help my society by highlighting their needs and celebrating their accomplishments.
But there are challenges of infrastructure. Mogadishu is a war-torn city in the process of rebuilding itself. So, for radio stations, frequent power cuts and transmission problems are a constant reality.
Sometimes the show is about to start and the computer hangs or the power goes out in the middle of the live show.
Amani Radio is funded by Somali women in the diaspora. The station currently has 25 employees between the ages of 17 and 20 years.
South African telecommunications company MTN plans to defend the lawsuit brought by Turkish mobile operator Turkcell. The case was previously heard in the United States.
In a press statement issued in Johannesburg over the weekend, MTN says this is the fifth claim Turkcell has brought since it previously failed to secure a mobile telecoms license in Iran. Earlier this year, Turkcell withdrew its legal fight against MTN in the U.S. courts. Turkcell alleged that MTN conspired and bribed Iranian officials to win the Iran license. Turkcell is seeking 420 billion rands in damages from MTN, plus interest and legal costs. MTN said 3 of the suits brought by Turkcell and its subsidiary, East Asian Consortium, have already been dismissed.
Uncertainty surrounds Kenya's digital migration. The country plans to start with this on the 13th of December. Media owners have, however, been going to court to challenge the switch, saying they weren't properly consulted. This will be Kenya's third attempt to move from analog to the digital platform in line with the global deadline of June 2015.
In one of Kenya's retail outlets, on display, the latest consignment of television sets. A few clients sample what the store has to offer. Nairobi is gearing up for the digital crossover.
When people come here, they are specifically coming and asking whether it is digital. Every month the business is increasing.
And by June next year, Kenya hopes to have completed the digital migration across the whole country. Away from the retail outlets, the Information and Communications Ministry has organized an exhibition where licensed digital top-set box dealers can interact with consumers. Media owners in Kenya have moved to court challenging the December switchover on grounds that they have not been adequately involved.
Other than the challenges of people making a lot of noise that we are not ready, we are going to cover the whole of Kenya before Tanzania finishes the expansive Tanzanian country.
Digital broadcasting offers sharper and brighter pictures, and one bandwidth can carry several channels.
The Philippines suffered tremendously in the hands of Typhoon Haiyan. Now, almost a month later, people across the globe are doing their bit to help clean up after the disaster. But with the help of technology drones, cleaning has been made much easier for aid groups.
It may look like a toy at first glance, but this little flying object is not a mere plaything, but the latest technology used to help clean up the aftermath of a natural disaster.
When organizations first saw it here, they thought it was a bit of a toy. But when they realized all the different uses you could do, like body retrieval, road clearance, you name it, I think this is a tool that will be used in every future disaster.
Deployed by a Swiss IT company, Denoffice IT, to the typhoon-ravaged Tacloban city in the Philippines. Drone technology is used to assist aid groups to efficiently search through debris, clear roads, and to assess overall damage caused by the typhoon.
Body retrieval, depending on the zone, when the dogs find a person, it's not always in a very accessible zone. So this allows the rescuers to find the best possible and swiftest path possible to go and retrieve that body.
The drones fold away into a small case and are made from hard plastic similar to that of a popular children's toy, Lego. The unit has a maximum range of 2 kilometers, can travel at altitudes of 40 centimeters to 150 meters above the ground, and runs on a battery life of up to 25 minutes.
If you are a photography fanatic, well, this next insert is right up your alley. Canon South Africa held its 3rd annual expo this weekend, and our producer Lebo Sejake got the chance to play with some of the company's digital toys.
Small cameras, big cameras, printers, even bigger cameras. These were some of the gadgets that were on display at the Canon 3rd annual expo.
This is our 3rd year we've run it, and we're growing in success year by year. Every year we get better people coming around, more entertaining. We change the format every year on a yearly basis as well.
The SLR camera is said to be Canon's flagship range. What exactly makes these digital imaging gadgets stand out from the rest?
The SLR, products have basically changed video on a major scale. There's a lot more TV productions, a lot more movies being shot on SLR because the sensors are so big. You can get really nice shallow depth of field effects. You can get really good low light footage.
With an influx of camera smartphones flooding global markets, some tend to think that cameras are things of the past. But just like smartphones, cameras too have online photo sharing features.
Initially, when people started using cell phones, they realized, hey, this is a quick and easy way. And then they look at the quality of the picture and it's not that good. And they start to realize they've got to move back to the cameras, use a camera to take a picture, take it to your cell phone and then upload it to Facebook and share it with your family.
Wi-Fi printers were also an eye-catcher for some people. These babies range from 800 Rand to 70,000 Rand retail price. The expo took place at the Sandton Convention Center and ended on Sunday.
After the break, we talked to Onico CEO Oresti Patricios about the media report that they're releasing. We'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome to Afroshowers News. My name is Musam Khalifi. Somali-American-born actor Makadi Abdi stars in the movie Captain Phillips. The young actor who had been working as a limousine driver found himself alongside Oscar winner Tom Hanks. 12 Years a Slave has recently held at the European premiere in London. The movie has also been nominated for the Oscar Awards next year. This comes after its screening in Toronto.
Yeah, it definitely took me a moment of going back to the book, of kind of trying to figure it out.
That's Afroshowers News, Saturdays, 7:30 p.m. on SABC News. SABC News plays a critical role in providing unbiased and reliable news. We have a well-established reputation of uncovering, reporting and delivering news. A significant growth in popularity of our news demonstrates the demand for our news content. We continue to provide unrivaled coverage of vital events in and out of the country. Wherever the news is happening, we'll be there to bring them to you at the right time. No one has the news covered like SABC News. We lead and they follow. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Oniko Group, a media researching company, has collected data on South Africa's media consumption, and they have chosen our show as a platform to reveal their findings on the overall landscape of South African media. Here to share the media report with us is Oniko CEO Oresti Patricios. Hello, sir, and welcome, Oresti.
Thank you very much.
Now, about this media report, what does it reveal?
Well, the report, ultimately what we do is we do different newsletters. What Oniko does is it monitors the media. So what we do is we collaborate with media online, and we get different kind of collaborations going. And there's a couple of things that are happening within the media space. We all know that the media is moving into the digital space. And some of the stuff that's happening internationally is how that media consumption, how people are utilizing that media consumption. So instead of waiting for the bold and beautiful at a particular time, they can access that program digitally now.
Wow.
So it's kind of putting a lot of pressure on broadcasters. It happened a few years ago with press, that people have migrated across to the digital space. And the way people read the digital newspapers are exactly the same as you would do on normal newspapers, except now you've got links to different sites, etc. So I think that's it's called, from a broadcasting perspective, it's called the cable cutters, because now you don't really necessarily need that cable to really access television any longer.
Wow. Now, considering South Africa's current poor broadband connection, do you think that the country's social media usage matches up with the rest of the world?
No, it doesn't yet. I do think that we're catching up, and as broadband starts improving, so does that usability increase. I was just reading a report. One of the collaborations that we have in this report is with Glenda Neville from the Media Online. And she spoke about one in the New Wave report, there's 1 in 3 people kind of connected to the internet. So
wow.
I think that's really, really important. And remember that connecting to the internet is not necessarily via your computer. A lot of the times it's actually via mobile. And through Africa, that's really how the penetration is happening, is through mobile. And it doesn't necessarily have to be smartphones. It can be feature phones, and feature phones really do have access to the internet.
But now, how does your company collect all this data? Because it's a lot of information.
Thank goodness we've got technology to help us do that. So in actual fact, what happens is we collect different types of data. So we collect advertising data, so across TV, radio, outdoor, not outdoors, outdoors not technology-based, it's still very human-based, but TV, radio, print. What we do is we've got systems that actually can pick up a television commercial when it passes our screen. Okay. So what happens is that when it's a brand new commercial, we have to digitize it and we create a unique fingerprint. And every time that advert actually passes our computers, it'll recognize that particular ad. So that's kind of quite simplistic from that perspective. And it does it on television, we do it on radio, we do it on print, and we can do it on the internet. So it'll convert that print ad into a digital format, into zeros and ones, and from there we'll be able to recognize it forever. So again, it'll tell us it will never recognize a new ad. We still need human interaction for a brand new ad. So a brand new ad then goes into a bin, it says, I don't recognize this ad, and there's human intervention. That's on the advertising side. That's what brands can control. Then what we have is we look at the editorial side. What we do is we scan all the newspapers and we change all those words into characters. And we, in the computers, depends on what the client is looking for. Within those computers, we put those keywords, and up come those keywords. But we still need human intervention because, let's say, power. There could be a power struggle within a particular category, but we're looking for Eskom, who's actually looking for other power. So we need human interaction to identify which is relevant and which is not relevant.
That's very, very interesting on how you collect the information. Thank you very much for joining us. That was Oresti Patricios, CEO of Onico. Now on to our next story. Lenovo has launched a new multi-mode tab in South Africa. The gadget comes in 2 different sizes, 8 and 10 inches. Network's Buitumelo Gasa has more.
Tab meets computer. That's the description of the new multi-mode tab. Lenovo Yoga Tab is entering a highly competitive tab. Computer. That's the description of the new multi-mode tab. Lenovo Yoga Tab is entering a highly competitive tablet market. With big players in the game such as Apple, Samsung, and Huawei, Lenovo has its work cut out for it. Its selling point is 3 unique modes, which is hold, tilt, and stand. Yoga Tablet has up to 18 hours battery life. But one issue that I picked up with the tab is the camera. It has a 5-megapixel camera and sometimes distorts photos with high resolution. It uses the Android operating system. It is also equipped with Dolby Audio. The recommended selling prices are 3,699 and 4,499 rands respectively.
Join us after the break as we discuss the new technologies that are making the dispensing of medication more efficient.
Your World provides trusted world, continent, and local stories. We deliver breaking news from across the globe and information on the latest top stories on business, technology, politics, and sport. Analysis of the big global business and economic issues as they affect consumers and investors. Make sure you don't miss Your World, weekdays between 11 and 12 midnight. We keep the nation fully informed.
Welcome back. As you know, today is World AIDS Day. Now, around the world, there is a concerted effort to help dispense drugs to those who need them quickly. Here to discuss some of the technologies assisting in this are Dr. Thembi Kulu from Right to Care. Now, Right to Care is based at the Thembaletu Clinic at Helen Joseph Hospital. We're also joined by Chimwemwe Sichali from ThoughtWorks South Africa. Welcome to both of you, ladies.
Thank you.
Now, Doctor, tell us a bit more about the work that you're doing at the Thembaletu Clinic.
The Thembaletu Clinic is a Gauteng Department of Health site where Right to Care provides support, and we use funding that we get from the United States Agency for International Development. And this essentially, this clinic has shifted from traditional HIV offerings to more comprehensive one-stop services for our patients. So a client would walk in, have an HIV test. If you are HIV negative and you are a man, you are immediately referred for circumcision. If you're HIV positive or negative and you're a woman, you are immediately referred for cervical cancer screening. As patients move through the system, all the data and the records that we keep are electronic. Therefore, the issue of lost files is a thing of the past. The whole data system, the clinical decision support tool that the doctors work on is integrated with the National Health Laboratory Service. So as bloods are done in the lab, the results are uploaded onto the system and the clinicians can make immediate decisions. The whole issue of lost results and having to re-bleed a patient because the results can't be found is history for us. Then the doctor sees the patient, transfers the electronic script to the pharmacy, and that pharmacy has just implemented new technology.
Tell us about that new technology that your pharmacy has implemented.
The pharmacy, I think the innovation around that is that we are using robots not only to load, but to pick and to dispense medication. So on the loading side, you can imagine critical things like the fact that medication that expires earlier must be at the front to be dispensed first. And using this machine has allowed us to realize immense savings because we no longer have high volumes of expired stock. As soon as the prescription comes through from the pharmacist, the machine, the robot, actually uses a combination of 3D technology and the reading of the barcode to pick out the items. So the picking errors have come down to 0. And then the medication is dispensed to the patient and labeled. And while the machine is picking, the pharmacist has got time to interact with the patient.
You're doing good work there. Let's bring in Chimwemwe. Chimwemwe, tell us about the application that ThoughtWorks South Africa has been working on.
Thank you so much. I will start off just by giving you some context around ThoughtWorks. So ThoughtWorks is a global company. We exist in 12 different countries and 29 different offices, and ThoughtWorks South Africa being part of them actually. So ThoughtWorks South Africa, we believe we are driven by 3 pillars. Our first pillar is that of running a sustainable business. Second pillar is that of championing software excellence, and the third pillar is championing social and economic justice. And that is actually under this third pillar, that is why I'm here and to talk about mPedigree. So
what is mPedigree?
mPedigree is an application actually. It's actually a brainchild by a Ghanaian entrepreneur. He's a tech innovator. His name is Bright Simmons. And it was birthed by this guy from Ghana. And, with that bright idea, it had to be coupled with, some tech innovators as well. That's how ThoughtWorks came in, and our pillar 3, which is social and economic justice, because we actually were motivated and we found it interesting that it was something that was positively impacting the community. So what mPedigree does, it allows everybody with a mobile phone, be it a feature phone or a smartphone, to validate medication that they've bought to ascertain whether that medication is valid or counterfeit. So that's what mPedigree is all about. And how it works, pretty much, when you buy your medication, it will have a unique hidden ID, and then you've got a scratch card on it, just the same way we buy airtime. And when you scratch it, it reveals you a hidden number that you SMS to a short code, a given short code, that will be with any other telco operator. And then it validates the medication. So you're at least, confident that the medication that you're taking is really valid and not fake.
Oh, well, Chim just mentioned something about SMSing. I know there's also some SMS technology. Tell us a bit more about that.
Any health facility or any clinic that sees chronic patients is measured on a few critical indicators, and one of them is your ability to retain patients. And that means your patients need to come for their medical visits, to see the doctor, to have their bloods taken, and to collect medication. And if patients don't come through on time, you then label them as defaulters. And if you still can't find them, you call them lost to follow up. So we've implemented a simple text alert where patients give consent to receive an SMS 2 weeks before the visit, 1 day before and on the day of the visit. And it essentially assists in reminding them to come through the clinic.
Oh, thank you very much, ladies, for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of our network. Let's continue this conversation on our social networks. We are on Twitter and Facebook on SABC Network. And you can drop us an email on newsnetwork@sabc.co.za. You can also watch the show on our YouTube channel, SABC Digital News. To commemorate World AIDS Day, we leave you with this YouTube video. From me and the rest of the network team, good night.
Good evening and